The voice that you've just heard in the recording reciting the poem is Julie. And Julie would have loved to have been here today to share her story. And if you'd have met Julie, you would love Julie. Very intelligent, very articulate, former nurse, and she's very passionate about making changes in Derby. However, if you'd have met her a couple of years ago, you might have met a very different Julie. Sharon, you met Julie a couple of years ago, didn't you? She turned up to Derwent Oak, knocked on the door, and can you tell us what she said?
Okay, so it was a Friday evening, 4:00, and Julie had been walking the streets of Derby trying to get some help. So her mum had died, and Julie was the full-time carer for her mum. And her benefits had been stopped, so Julie's benefits had been stopped. Now, Julie doesn't know how to use a computer, and she has no access to a computer. But she was told to go to the job centre and apply for universal credit. The people at the job centre told her she had to apply online. But they said the Citizens Advice Bureau could help her, so she rang them, and she rang them 6 times, and there was no reply. She went to various places. She went to the town hall. She went to lots of different places. And the reason that she turned up at Derwent Oak was because she'd been confirmed in the Church of England, in the church next to where Derwent Oak meets. And it was her last-ditch attempt to get help. And she had 96 pence in the bank. She hadn't had any gas or electricity for a couple of weeks. She hadn't eaten for a week. And when she saw it turned up on my doorstep, she was shaking and she was cold, and she had her head down, and her feet were sore from the number of miles that she'd walked. Her bus pass, she couldn't use her bus pass because it was out of date. So consider this a Friday evening. So we were able to get her some emergency food. We put some gas and electric on her gas and electric cards. I sat with her, and we set up an email account, and we set up a universal credit account. And then we got her food. The other thing, Julie was very sick. She wasn't able to put her solid food. She had to have a liquid diet. She was waiting for an operation. And obviously there's quite a waiting list for those operations, so she was very, very thin. She's about 7 stone. And so we were able to get her some liquid food that she could have. And then I took her home. And we started the process of trying to get her the help that she needed. And so she was in her mum's bungalow, and Derby City Council were trying to get her out of the bungalow. She had nowhere to go. And she was threatened with eviction. And it was only really through the efforts of quite a few people, including the local councillor, that actually we managed to get the tenancy agreement made into her name. I have to say, this is one of the worst cases I have ever seen of poverty. I do not believe Julie would have survived the weekend.